Well, thank you very much for your time. This show definitely is something visceral. It awakens and produces reactions. I felt sad, I laughed, I felt uncomfortable, I felt very comfortable too. How was that part for you to put all of those emotions together in only one product?
I've always appreciated movies and shows that could sort of shift tone. There was a French film called Les Petits Mouchoirs that came out a couple years ago where it starts off sort of dramatically, then becomes full comedy, then returns to drama. Korean films do it a lot. It feels to me much more like a reflection of our real lives where we can be laughing and crying at the same time. And also just the opportunity to play with comedy. You know, I've done what tend to be sort of a harder dramatic fare. But I do enjoy writing and telling funny stories, and this was a kind of an opportunity to flex that muscle.
In a very respectful way, you talk about mental issues, and that is handled in a delicate way. How did you determine the tone in which you were going to talk about that?
Well, I think from the very beginning, when I was talking even to Emma and Jonah, before there was even a story, the idea of taking it out of the mental hospital where the original show was set was really important because we didn't want to make mental illness to be the butt of a joke. We wanted to try and treat that as humanly as possible. And I mean, destigmatizing, I think, mental illness is an important aspect of the show, I think, as well. I mean, humanizing the people themselves that are living through it.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the original show didn't include the character of Emma, and you wanted her to be in this.
Yeah.
How was putting her and adding her to the story?
Well, I think some people assume Owen's character is based on the original show, and it's not, actually. Although in that show, there's a question mark around schizophrenia. Emma was the first person I spoke to about the show. So Jonah was the second person, albeit the same night, he was the second person I talked to. And Emma was very clear that she did not want to be a therapist or the person saving the male character in the show. And so her character was a kind of a collaboration between Patrick and her and I, trying to figure out who, one, would be a character that would be interesting for her to play, but also find something relatable in her that we all can kind of see either as a member of our family or of ourselves.
There are so many elements in here that are our reality mixed with something else, which allows us to navigate this universe very easily. How much fun did you have constructing this world?
I mean, I guess creating a new world and universe was probably one of the funner parts of this whole project, just because, you know, we had all kinds of ideas that didn't quite make it in there. We had this thing called the Therapy booth, where you could just basically, like operated, you know, photo booth. You go in and you get therapy, you know. And it was just, there's this kind of all kinds of things that we could just be kind of, it's not really the future, it's not the past, even though there's some retro technology. It's just kind of a parallel world that we can kind of, like almost two trains on the tracks going side by side, and you can look at each other and there's just something just not quite right, that kind of uncanny difference. And so we didn't want to go too far away. So it's just, what does this world look like that's almost like our own without, you know, being too expensive to create too?
That is amazing. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah.